Hello, good evening. This is Kucheli. So I'm coming to you today with this special video because I had a talk with a couple of people actually earlier about home ownership. Now, someone said, "Well, Kucheli, why do you always kind of shove home ownership in people's faces, right? Because I always advocate for home ownership." And so I wanted to kind of make this video to just kind of shed light to my own perspective when it comes to home ownership, the advantages and the disadvantages as a realtor. All right. So if you see me looking down here, I have a couple of notes that I'm just going to look into. And then later on, I will talk a little bit about my book. All right. I have a buyer's guide. And so I will link the description at the bottom, and then I will also put the ebook link. So if you want a copy for more elaboration on what I'm going to talk about, it is going to be at the bottom. All right. So let's go. Home ownership. Well, you know what? Home ownership here in America, it is considered as one of the American dream, whereby you have your own property. And so a lot of people now are owning homes because, of the advantages. So one of the advantages is the freedom. So you have the right to your property and the freedom to do whatever you want to do with it. Now, I will kind of put the renting and then the owning a home just because of time. Okay? Freedom. You can add anything you want to add. You can subtract whatever that you don't want into the property. Nobody is going to say anything to you or why you're adding this. You can put the colors, any color you want to. You can add a balcony. You can add a deck. You can add a room. You can do whatever. But when you are renting, you don't have the right to do anything. You can't even change the painting of any wall in your dwelling. So it doesn't matter whether you are living there for 1 year or 20 years. You cannot change anything. Colors, foundation, nothing, right? So that's one of the advantages of owning a home. Second is federal tax deduction. Now, every year we file taxes. And so one of the benefits is you can do a homestead federal tax return, and you can get pretty good money for when you file your taxes every year. I would try not to talk much about a lot of things because of time. And so if you want a copy of my book, go ahead and request for the copy. All right. And then, you have the sense of, the fact that you own a home, you have neighbors you can talk to, you have the sense of belonging into a community where, you see neighbors, you see kids going around, versus when you rent an apartment, usually you only have your space and the hallway and outside. So you can't do much, pretty much, especially when you have kids. Now, I remember when my kids were growing, my twins, it was really tough because they wanted to play around and they couldn't. And I felt so bad because I couldn't do much. So that's one of the reasons why I decided to buy my home now that I'm living in for almost 12 years. Okay. One of the advantages of renting is the fact that you're not responsible for a lot of fixtures or fixing. So some people just want to, if something breaks, you call the landlord, they're going to fix it, right? Versus when you are owning, you're going to be fixing those things. Yes. So one thing that people don't know is, I should have talked about this earlier, but Generally, renting is more expensive than owning a home. For example, if you're renting a house or an apartment that is, say, $2,000, you're renting it, right? When it comes to home ownership, usually it is between $300 and $700 cheaper, depending on the location and depending on the kind of home. So uh, typically, the landlords will increase the rent because they have to get back the money that they are paying. So they are being charged for taxes, insurance, um, and other stuff in case, if they have to fix something, they have to, get their money, because that's why they are renting the place, right? Because they want profit. And so they increase the rent, so that they can get their return. So it is better for you to own a home. If you own a home and you're paying a mortgage of $2,000 for like for a bedroom and two bath, typically if you're renting is going to be 15 like about $500 to $800 more. Again, because of the profit that your landlord is trying to get from you. If you need me to elaborate that, let me know in the comment, or I can send you a link of my book. All right. Next is privacy. Some people don't want to own a home because because of privacy, and I get it. And I have been in the situation where you have to hide from the crazy ex, or crazy boyfriend, or ex-boyfriend. So they don't want to expose where they live, because typically if you own a home, they can find you where you live based on your name or your phone number. People can know where you live, unfortunately. But when you're renting, it's private. Okay, so that's a good thing too for people that are trying to run away from someone or something. And then the third one here for the benefits of renting is the convenience. Now, some people don't want to, again, I mentioned it earlier, they don't want to fix anything. They just want to call the landlord to fix something, versus when you own a home. Uh, Again, the landlord takes their money from your rent to fix whatever it is that might possibly break. And so they're not just wasting the money, they're getting it from you. Okay? Again, if it doesn't make sense, let me know. When it comes to relocation, when you own a home, it is kind of harder to move because you're tied to a mortgage, and it is easier for you to move when you're renting compared to when you are owning a home. And you know what? People move all the time because of jobs or because of family. And so that shouldn't be a problem when you have to relocate. So that is really not a disadvantage when it comes to owning a home, I would say. Another advantage of home ownership is equity. Now, when you're paying for your mortgage, there's some factors that comes into place. You pay for the principal, the interest, the taxes, and insurance. So all this kind of go into your mortgage every month. And so some of the money that you're paying goes into equity, aka savings. Now, if you don't have any savings, at some point, you can actually take money from your home and pay off debt or do whatever you want to do when you refinance your home. All right. But when it comes to renting, you don't save any money. So everything goes to your landlord or landlady. And so whether you live 1 year or 30 years, at the end of the term, you don't own anything. You're not going to get anything back. So that is a benefit to homeownership. When it comes to homeownership, you can have your home value appreciate. So every year, the home value is supposed to increase because of the market. All right. It is going to be very tough to see that the home value goes down because of maybe a market is crashing. So you find out that your home usually loses value, but generally real estate appreciate with time. So these are some of the benefits of owning a home versus when you're renting. And so let me know if you need more explanation of anything. Again, I'm going to link my book at the bottom so you can read if you need more information about that. So I know that homeownership is not for everybody. Okay. It is not. And I've said it before because of convenience, privacy, and just because some people just don't want to own anything. They don't want to be responsible and it's okay. All right. So thank you for your time and stay tuned for my next video and have a great day.